How are you, Dan? All right?
Good, thanks, Guy. You all right?
Yeah. I just wonder, Friday night in Cardiff, how's it different?
I mean, probably traditionally, it's the Six Nations is a weekend. It's sort of a Six Nations weekend, isn't it? So it is a little bit different, and it's probably not quite the same as a Saturday afternoon in the Six Nations, but it's also exciting as well. You know, it's a night kickoff and playing, you know, probably the form team in the world at the minute. So it doesn't get any better than that, and it's a huge challenge. And but yeah, there's no doubt it's probably the Six Nations for me is probably a weekend fixture, a Saturday afternoon fixture. But for whatever reason, we're Friday night, and we just get on with it and enjoy the challenge.
You've had a couple of great games against France in the last couple of years, you know, in night games in Cardiff and Paris, but you've been on the wrong end of them. What memories of that, and what can you change to change that this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously pretty unlucky last year in terms of the Grand Slam game where we just came up short for one reason or another. But you know, we've done reasonably well against France over the last few years. We realised that this French team is probably slightly different to the previous French teams we played over the last few years. You know, in terms of the size of the pack, the informed players they've got in their team, and obviously the coaching setup and who they've brought into the coaching setup. So we're fully aware that, again, it comes down, you know, I know it's perhaps a little bit samey, but physicality is a huge thing for us on Friday night, because you look at the way that they sort of dismantled Scotland in that second half, and a lot of it was due to just big carries, getting on top of the ball, or being on top defensively and scoring points from that. So it's about making sure we're physically ready, and then we got to make sure we take our opportunities, because they're going to be probably few and far between. France aren't going to give us anything on a plate, and we're going to have to earn what we get on Friday night.
And Dupont and Ntamak, they're always a test at halfback.
Yeah, well, I think, look, you know, it's pretty obvious that he's probably the best player in the world, isn't he, at the minute, in terms of obviously being voted it. But you know, he has a huge influence, Dupont, on any game he plays and for any side he plays for. So his partnership with Ntamak has flourished over the last sort of 12-18 months, and they're in seriously good form, you know, leading that team with a huge French pack in front of them. So they're going to be huge danger men for us. We spoke about them during the week, but again, it's been a bit of a focus for us that we've tried to focus on getting our own house in order right as well. You know, we're obviously very, very much aware of the threats that the French team and in particular those two you named are going to bring, but we're just trying to make sure we focus on ourselves and give ourselves the opportunity to put our best foot forward.
Just final one for me, just one on Tomas Francis, Dan. I'm not going to ask about any of the incidents, don't worry about that. It's just about when a player is thrust into the sort of the limelight over an incident like this. I mean, it happened to you a few years ago when you picked up a few. What's it like, and how do you cope with it?
Yeah, I think again it's one of those guys where probably the circus round it is probably bigger than what it is itself. You know, we've got a team who are brilliant in terms of how well we're looked after, and they're not going to take any unnecessary risks on players. You know, at the end of the day, that's the physio and the medical departments. Their first protocol is health and safety of the players. So for me, it's just something that's been probably, again, it always is, because it's a serious and a big issue. It's always going to get a little bit more hyped up. But you know, from our end, there's absolutely no issues. If Franny wasn't right to play, or the medical team deemed him not fit to play, then he wouldn't be involved. As it is, he's passed everything and been looked at by independent people as well, and you know, that's a process, and we trust the process completely, and just try and get on with it now, rather than, you know, everyone's got an opinion on it at the minute, haven't they? But we're focused on the experts that we've got and the professional people we've got in our camp.
Thank you, Dan. Good luck on the weekend.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, and then we'll finish up the line with a couple of questions from Graham.
Hi Dan, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Gray. How are you?
Good, thanks. Just a couple on Tomas Francis. I mean, when you did see that incident on the screen at the end of the game, and you saw Tom staggering around, what did you think?
Oh, look, it's one of those where, you know, there's lots of incidents like that in terms of throughout. There's been, you know, it's not a first in terms of boys taking bumps and stumbling around. I've been on the end of a couple myself as well. But I think Gray, it's one of those where people, like I said to Gar, there's going to be people who are going to have opinions of it. From my end, as long as he goes through all the protocols and he's passed all the protocols and the experts have deemed him fit to carry on, deemed him fit to resume training and playing, then I don't think we should be making too much more of it than that, if I'm honest, because we're not the experts in those fields, and if who are we to question if the people have passed him fit, and that's their profession. Our profession isn't. We're not medical experts, so that's what I would say on that. Is it's down to the independent and our medical team who are brilliant and always have been brilliant since I've been involved. That if ultimately people who are passing judgment on that are questioning those people. So for me, it's very much let's move on from it. He's been deemed fit to play by experts, not by me or you. It's not just some guy we've dragged off the street to give him the thumbs up to play. So he's been deemed fit. He's gone through all the protocols and he's finding himself and good to go for Friday.
Okay, one last question on that, and it's not about individuals and the capabilities of your own medical staff, but Progressive Rugby have said the rules themselves are not fit for purpose. Is that something that the players feel?
Certainly not from my end. It's one of those things where, again, I can only speak from personal experiences and experiences I've dealt with. We're very well looked after here, and I don't. People are going to have. Again, it's like anything, isn't it? You're going to have different people are going to have different opinions on this as a matter, on the laws of the game, on refereeing interpretations, on styles of play, on everything. So it's just comes down to people's opinion, and that's their opinion, and they're entitled to it. But while things are in place from a player's point of view, I think all the players are more than happy with the way that the system is and the protocols are at the minute. And from our point of view, we just crack on with it and let other people, sort of sort those issues out.
Yeah. Okay. Just to look at France, Wayne was asked earlier on whether he feels he owes them one for the last couple of seasons. I mean, do you feel a bit like that?
No, I certainly don't think it's owed one. It was unfortunate that it was just that we were playing them in that Grand Slam game in Paris 12 months ago, and we couldn't quite get over the line in the end for one reason or another. Probably have to look at ourselves a little bit more than France in terms of the way we managed the last 15 minutes of that game. So, and as well, I think the form they've showed over the last 12 months, they're in a really good mode at the minute. They're playing some really exciting rugby which is being underpinned by an incredible sized pack and ball carriers that they've got. So that we know exactly how France are going to play. They're going to give you very limited opportunities. They're not going to dish too much up for you to feast on. It's going to be, you're going to have to work for everything on Friday night and work for everything you get. So it's about being disciplined ourselves. It's about making sure we match them physically, but also it's about making sure that we've got to start the game well, Graham, because the one game we started well against Scotland and we got a result. We didn't start the game well against Ireland and England, and we didn't get a result. So it's about making sure we start that and match that physically first, and see how we go in the game, and just sort of take the game as it comes at the minute, rather than sort of thinking too much or thinking that we owe them anything. It's about making sure we try and get a result in the last two games at home.
France, obviously 2 games from a possible Grand Slam. Is that ever part of a team's motivation to stop another side winning a Grand Slam?
No, not well. Certainly not this weekend. We're not thinking. We haven't once mentioned it in our team meetings or around the camp. We know that for us it's all about because we know that it's going to take a huge effort for us to for us to get our hands on the trophy or retain the trophy. We know that we're really up against it in that end, but. So for our end, it's just making sure that we try and get 2 results in the last couple of weekends, and we're really, and I mean this in the most respectful way, we're really not bothered if us winning stops France with the Grand Slam or Championship. We really are just worried about making sure we finish the campaign on a high from our end, rather than worrying about France's Grand Slam or Championship bid.